parking lot taken over.
Yeah, if you know where Juvie is, it's like across the street from Juvie. That's where the big Bills thing is.
I hope you wouldn't know where Juvie is.
I know where Juvie is.
I tried to use that as a description. Paul didn't know where it was.
Our boss did not know. I did
How
not.
come me and you know where it is?
We do know. We're from here, though.
Okay,
I mean,
there
it
you
was
go.
a nice, pretty building when it
I
first
spent a
made
lot of time trying to stay out of that place. Back in the day.
Yes. Let me say this. I flew home. I worked a Friday night Cal at Oregon, so I flew Saturday morning, Eugene to Denver, Colorado, Denver to Nashville on Southwest, and my Denver to Nashville flight on Saturday morning was nothing but Bills fans.
Yeah, I told, there they are. I told a Bills fan that walked by. What's
Bills
up, people?
Mafia. What's up, Bills Mafia?
Hey, we need to see y'all jump through some card tables. That's what we need to see.
Yeah.
So I said,
So we send y'all home in one.
Yeah, use that one. Go for it.
Oh, yeah,
Right
we've
off
got
the
them set up
stage.
right here. Look. Oh, this is
bad news.
my anxiety's getting to me already.
Paul Mason is like, no, liability.
Yeah.
Liability. Yeah, no, Paul, we won't do that. But we will
I feel
to watch
like if
them.
you jump into the Bills fan base, if you are a Bills fan, you immediately sign off on liability.
Oh,
If
yeah, without
anything.
question.
Anything. If you're a part of Bills Mafia, liability is a word that is not even in the dictionary.
That's what it's about.
Yeah, we've got a lot to get to, as you might imagine, today, because there were some things that happened over the weekend. Me and Slay were in Knoxville in the building, and we had that whole situation surrounded.
Yeah.
I was on one side of the stadium, he was on the other, and there was a lot going on. So we'll get into that in the next segment, our experience at Nissan Stadium over the weekend. Will Bowling was there as well. Let me just say this. It was a glorious day that got hijacked by a few hundred people, and that part of it sucks. Because beyond that, I've got all that. Beyond that, thank you, Will Bowling. There's Titans news we'll hit you with here in just a second. Beyond that, it was a glorious freaking day, and the game atmosphere and what the University of Tennessee has transformed Neyland Stadium into was unlike anything I've ever been in the vicinity of in sport.
Chills immediately and guess what? From any part of the stadium too. Yeah. From any part of it,
and you had two football teams that were given everything they had to try to win that game, and watching the coaches kind of match each other, and Tennessee at halftime making adjustments that kept them in the football game, and actually had a chance to win it. And if Hendon Hooker doesn't go down, maybe they do.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I sent y'all the picture, and we were talking about this a little bit last week. When Ole Miss had the football with 54 seconds left, and they run it on first down and get stoned, they run it on second down and get stoned, and then it's third down.
Yeah.
And Hendon Hooker is on the sideline with his toes almost on the field, with his hands on his knees, urging his team to get the Tennessee offense the ball back.
Please.
And where was Joe Milton? Mere moments before he entered the game to try to win it, he was sitting at the back of the bench with three other players, not even watching the football game.
Yeah.
And I hate to say
one
that
of them
about
with the
the
back
dude,
of the field, with his back to the field.
Yeah.
One of them.
Yep. It showed where it was mentally. Yeah.
Well,
that shows you
Especially when
exactly.
he got
He had no interest in that game at all.
Well, and his decision making when he was forced to. I mean, you're a play away. How many times do coaches tell you that? And look at the Titans. It's a perfect example with their injury list. You are a play away from being the guy.
Yep.
Christian Fulton's out. Guess what? Play away. Somebody else better step in.
Yep.
You know? So mentally, I think his performance clearly showed that he was not mentally in tune with what was going on at that game, especially on that last play. You got to situational awareness. Situational awareness. Know what the clock is.
And then just
know what
willingly
you can
ran
do.
out of bounds. I mean,
listen.
Let me hit the sideline here.
Well, because the only thing you think is that he thought he had enough time, but you have 3 seconds on the clock when you prior to stopping the ball. Right. You should know that you will not end up having enough time. That's it.
I just stood in the stadium. At that point, I had moved out of the student section for safety reasons.
That was probably a good idea. Were you guys actually in the student section? Okay, so we got a good perspective here when we dive into this.
So I was on the other side at that point. I just stood there for 5 minutes just shaking my head what in the world just happened?
That's what
I've never seen that before.
He left everybody doing that. And I know it wasn't a spur of the moment like, I'm going to go in there and get – you had time to prepare. The coach had time to talk to you. I know they told him, man, listen, you got to give us a chance right here. You got to give us a chance.
Two balls in the end zone.
Man, throw an interception. Give somebody a chance. But the run and then to look up at the clock like it didn't register to him and then he ran out of bounds. Come on, man. There was 0 on the clock.
Here's the other thing. You can't teach that. Like, for me, I don't think you can teach situational awareness like that.
And I don't like being hard on these student athletes.
No, that's what I started to say earlier.
But at the same time, no, I need you to be locked in because I've been in that position. We've all been in that position in sports. No, you're in tune with the game, especially when your team is out there giving you all. I've been in situations where the coaches had me PO'd, pissed off, and I'm like checked out. And I done seen my teammates out there, and I'm like, man, forget the coach, man. Let me do this for my guys. You know what I'm saying? So you don't do that, man. You don't do that. You don't do that. That's difficult.
You guys know I love to go back and watch games, even like games that don't go maybe the way that you want. To kind of do that to myself. So I haven't had a chance because we drove back today. I haven't had a chance to watch the Tennessee Ole Miss game again, but I'm going to do an injury scoreboard. I'm going to chart it all.
So
because I'm telling you, we had several Ole Miss fans around us too, and we were all kind of talking about like if you don't have a dog in the hunt in this game, it's unwatchable.
Yeah,
they've got to do something about that.
Listen,
and I love your idea. If you go down,
it was on both sides.
Both sides.
Yeah.
If you go down, and maybe it's the Tennessee in me, but I felt like Lane Kiffin started it.
No, it was definitely started by him.
So then Heupel was like, "Well, hell, if you're going to do it,
I've got to do it. It's only right."
But maybe that's the Tennessee in me. I don't
know. No.
It was certainly
definitely started by Ole Miss.
It was certainly more obvious on the Ole Miss side. Yeah.
But and that's what got that's initially what got everybody riled up in the stadium because people were pissed about that. But your idea was if you go down, you got to miss a series.
You have to until the ball changes possessions because we're worried about your health as a student athlete. So if we're worried about your health, we want to clear the stadium when things are being thrown. I don't want you out there playing with an injury, man. If you haven't been looked over, let me sit you out and make sure everything is fine. So I got to make sure everything is fine.
We were in Section D, Row 4. So if you're familiar with Nissan Stadium, you know where that is. But for those that aren't, we were on the 40-yard line, 4th row, right behind the Ole Miss bench, right behind that tent. They literally would walk players to it, and the trainer was smiling. And the player would go in for one play and come right back out and go back in the game.
As soon as the ball was hiked, they tell them to come right back out.
So what Ole Miss was doing, they would have 4 or 5 guys standing on the sideline. So when this injured player got off the field, those guys ran into the game, and they just made wholesale substitutions.
Yeah.
They've got to do something about that.
Well, and so if anybody follows me on Twitter and then follows Buck on Twitter, Buck basically.
I heard I couldn't get to my phone I couldn't get the service to see what was going on.
Oh, it's okay. I took care of it for you.
Thank you.
Anyway, and I don't even remember Buck's. Basically, he was. What's a good word? Is chastising a good word? The Tennessee fans who were booing when the injuries happened. How could you? Blah blah blah.
If that happens in any stadium, that happens.
Regardless.
If you're not going to like it, don't like it in any stadium because that's what's going to happen.
And the thing, go ahead, Babs.
No, it's a bad take.
Yeah,
you're right.
Without question.
It's a terrible take, and I understand what he's saying. You don't ever want to boo somebody that might seriously be injured. But it was 40-something degrees.
Right.
And guys are randomly
cramping,
just hitting the ground, going down
I think that was
with cramps.
I think that was a karma cheer. Is what that was.
Yeah, and then like in that situation,
which is bad, but
it's the thing of the boy has cried wolf too many times. So if it's something wrong with him for real, we don't know because we've seen it non-contact and just fall down before the ball is hiked. The cornerback fell down 3 times, right over there on the front of the Tennessee bench. I mean, just fell down. Like, come on, dude. Not when you driving. So, the fans got the right to react.
Bama Jay
not
says,
throw things.
You didn't care about A&M flopping every 5 minutes against Alabama. What goes around comes around. I didn't even know they were. I saw the fourth quarter of that game.
I didn't even pay attention to that game. I'm going to be honest.
But I would have. I would have been.
It's happening way too often.
I would have been mad about it just like this. Like, I'm talking about football games that don't need to go 5 hours.
Yep.
You're talking to someone that roams the sideline. I don't want a 5-hour game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rhett on Twitter, 28 injuries for Ole Miss, average 1 out of every 3.3 plays.
Wow. And I'm going to take that, too.
I'm going to go back and look. All right, more on our take of where we were, what we saw at the game. When we come back, we'll do plenty on the Titans. We've got a Titans injury update, some roster movement there. Also, an unbelievable Derrick Henry stat. That's coming up next. Stay tuned. 3HL 104.5 The Zone.
And there are people that have to work, whereas the Bills fans, a lot of them have been here since, Friday?
Exactly.
I know that there was a plane full of them coming in on Saturday morning.
This stadium better be off the meter.
I was pulling into the radio station, which is nowhere near this building, and there were, Bills fans on scooters. And they looked a little wobbly on those things, and I was like, man, alcohol plus Bills fan plus scooter? I don't know about this.
Plus table. Don't leave
What did I tell you? There's no liability if you're in Bills Mafia.
Yeah, you just automatically sign that off on.
They're LIVIN.
Yes. How about some Titans transactions?
Yes.
You want me to hit it?
Yes.
Okay. From injured reserve to the 53-man roster, safety Amani Hooker.
I like how Dawn does things. She starts with the good news. That's
Amani Hooker. He's
that's
good to
really
go.
good news.
53-man roster. Here we go.
Because listen,
because they need some bodies back there.
Not an indictment on whoever, but the communication appears to be a little bit better when Amani Hooker is back there with Kevin Byard. I'm just saying. Mm-hmm. So that's good news. Do you have some not so good news?
You ready for the rest of it?
Yeah.
Corner Christian Fulton placed on injured reserve.
Here we go, Caleb Farley. I guess. Who's been sick?
Well, this is this is a hell of an offense to.
Yeah. Let my man make his first career start.
Hey, kid, welcome in. They're the best in the league.
Yeah, take it MVP.
And literally
by the way,
everything.
It's not even close.
Yeah, just make your first career start against Josh Allen.
Come on in.
Yeah.
Come on in, Caleb.
Hey.
You know what, though? We had
Caleb.
Caleb.
My family down there. Uncle B. My bad. My bad. I'm going to see a lot of people. My fault.
You are going to see a lot of
people. I'm hyped, too. Yeah. I told you I wasn't even into it. My bad. Go, Babs.
I was just going to say, we had Caleb Farley on our show.
Yeah.
On one of our Titans player shows. So we got to chat with him for a while. A quiet kid.
Right.
And we also had him on the day after he got drafted, right?
Yep.
And had him by phone then. He is a very confident, impressive kid.
Yeah, confident.
To say the least.
Not cocky or arrogant.
I'm
confident.
But that, I mean,
kind of.
You're about to step in
He's low key
on the biggest show against the best offense that are doing things that teams in this league haven't done in a long time.
When everybody's watching.
At least mentally, the kid is pretty strong.
Yeah.
Even through what he's been, everything
and
he's been through,
a lot.
And he's been through a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it from a personal standpoint, and losing his mom, all the way to injury, to surgeries, to rehab, to another injury. He's gone through all of that. It is just a hell of a way to start.
Yeah.
Buffalo averages 34.4 points per game on offense. That's number one in the NFL. They average 12.8 points per game allowed on defense. That's number one in the NFL. They've won 4 games in a row by an average of 29 points per game, including 2 shutouts. In the last 4, they've scored 36 points per game, and they have allowed 10. Josh Allen, and then the combo of Singletary and Zach Moss, they're both 5'9", 203 or whatever. I think Singletary's more like 5'7". So they're like literally the same dude. Stephon Diggs, Emmanuel Sanders, who's 34 years old, is killing it. Dawson Knox, who is from here, leads the NFL in terms of tight end touchdowns with 5.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can go on and on about this group. I hadn't even got to the defense.
God, remember we always talk about Dawson Knox was on that nasty whiteout team with A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf at Ole Miss, DeMarcus Lodge. God, that team was insane. Imagine if they had Matt Corral as their quarterback with all of those guys. Wow. Could you imagine that? And their quarterback was Jordan Ta'amu, so he wasn't terrible. I mean, he bounced around some practice squads, but he's certainly not Matt Corral.
No. I'm going to give a hot take. Remember how much I love Matt Corral?
Yeah.
Being in the building and watching him in the building, and I mean, that dude is tough as crap, and he's physical, and he's athletic, and all these things. But in terms of like a drop-back quarterback, I'm not there with him.
No.
Well, how many times do we talk about a great quarterback in college just sometimes does not translate to the pros, and he might be that guy.
On the downs that Tennessee, and they did it more in the second half, but on the downs that Tennessee did not blitz, and his first read wasn't there, he really struggled to process what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And he made some questionable throws.
Yeah, he did.
And I know that that's a hot take. An Ole Miss fan is going to kill me, but I'm telling you, I love the kid and the competitor, and we've met him several times, and and all of those things. And I think he can be a success in the NFL. But is he the best guy in college football?
Okay.
In Lane Kiffin's system, it makes him the best.
Yeah.
But translating to the NFL, I don't know.
He might be the best this year because it's that bad.
Okay, so and also,
did you see the same thing?
Yes, but at the same time, I look at guys like that. You got to have the games that pop, and you also got to have the games that you put everything on your shoulders and get the job done. And to me, in that game, when all else failed, like,
oh my gosh,
dude, he put it on his shoulder and scrambled, and it was almost best they call a draw every time.
Right, and what I'm saying is in the NFL, they shut that down after like 3 plays. Tennessee couldn't do it. And here's what they were doing. He would drop back, and I have to go, I still haven't gone back to watch the tape, but just being in the building, they would send the center and one of the guards right at the middle linebacker.
Yes.
So if you were spying him, they were getting blocked.
Yep.
And it was a great idea, but he ran 30 times.
That's a lot.
And
Over
my man's trucking people, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous combination. Now Lane Kiffin's saying he doesn't know if he's going to play this week.
So this is my thing, to your point. The reason I agreed to disagree on this one.
Yeah.
Because he is, to me, the best impactful player for his team in college football, to me.
Right.
And there ain't no question
but
about it.
Guess who
that
else was? Tim Tebow.
Yeah,
there you go.
I think that and translating to the NFL are two different things.
No, I'm with you. No, I ain't disagreeing with you on that. I'm saying
as a playmaker, though.
There you go.
That guy,
no question,
and his toughness and all that stuff. Here's the other thing. There was a time in the I think it was the third quarter when Tennessee got it to 24-19. He came over to the bench, and it's funny. He
over there too.
He had his own little chair that sat in front of like the big old medical
tent.
Not the tent, but like the box or whatever. So he sat in his own chair. He didn't sit on the bench with all the other players.
Yeah,
which I thought was weird.
Yeah.
Well, he does it because he needs to be by the phone to talk to people that are up. Like most of the quarterbacks have to do that because at some point they're going to have to talk to somebody that's upstairs with that view.
He came over in the third quarter and he got all of his wide receivers together on the bench and he talked to them for like 5 minutes.
Really?
And I was like, that's some leadership right there.
You got my view. Like you were right there. Isn't it fun? Isn't that a fun view, though?
Yeah, I saw the Ole Miss trainers laughing about the injuries and
I was just going to say,
players being in there back.
How much do you learn standing right there, though?
Yeah.
You learn a lot, and you can hear and read lips.
Yeah. You know exactly what's going on.
You get a lot of info standing down there.
So Tennessee defensively, look, they're going to try to get that 6-6 record, right? Yeah. Which is what I think the expectation level was before the season. You wanted a little bit more than that, but
I said I'll take 7, but 6 is the goal.
What they've done with Banks on defense, what they've done defensively is really impressive to me, and I think is an illustration of what you're seeing inside the locker room with culture. It's the want to and the try hard and all those things. They just don't have the players. They came into the game with 71 scholarship players.
That's it.
And I know Lane wants to talk about 4 starters missing on offense.
Oh, that's cool.
Every team can go play that game,
but you didn't have guys leave. Like you had guys leave, and you couldn't restock. Like you didn't even have nothing to go to on the shelf and say, "Oh yeah, let me use this."
I mean, a starting tackle is at Oklahoma. Your top 2 running backs,
one's at
Evans,
Oklahoma.
you could put in the mix with the other 2, but one's at Oklahoma, one's at North Carolina. I mean, you can just go down the list of players that are gone.
Right.
First half, Ole Miss, 311.
Sorry, I just got distracted by the Chris Johnson Pro Bowl jersey.
Cool.
That's the jam right there. Love me some CJ2K.
Ole Miss in the first half, 311 total yards. In the second half, 199.
Yeah.
So Matt Corral in the first half, 13 of 25, 176 yards and a touchdown, 16 carries, 83 yards on the ground. So that's 259 total yards.
Yep.
In the second half, he was 8 of 13 for 55 yards. That's an adjustment. Now, they could never stop him from running the ball.
No. Nope.
So that's a testament to what Ole Miss was doing with that. But it's interesting. The other thing is the other run plays, 32 for 84. Minus Matt Corral running. The running backs for Ole Miss.
And Snoop is very good in the backfield for them.
And I know Ely was
but
32 for 84, though.
Yeah.
So Corral was clearly the difference in this football game, and
without question,
everything went through him, and he was exceptionally impressive.
And that's why I say when you get a guy like that, you need him to make those plays because in the Heisman race, which he is in, that's what you point to. Dude, y'all didn't have nothing going. What did you do? I took off and ran for 200 yards. Oh, well, okay, let's talk about something else. But to the Tennessee Vols point, dude, I'm beyond. This was a 5-point game. You had at least 2 opportunities on 2 different drives to go and win the game. You gave up 7 points in the second half. Like, hey, man, I'm pleased, man. I'm gonna be honest.
So one of the best offenses in the nation.
I am pleased,
That's
man.
what I was going to say.
And I think
you were able to disrupt a little bit of an offense that has not been easily disrupted.
Right. And what you saw at the end.
That's what impressed me.
What you saw at the end, to me, was a culmination of everything over the entire game, from the officiating, from even from some of the self-inflicted wounds, like coming out getting a three and out, and then muffing the punt. Like, that was a gut punch, but you bounce back from it. And then when you finally get things rolling, that strip, that's a fumble, man. Tyler Barron scores that in the end zone. I'm sorry, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it to me. I'm if that's the case, man, you got to stop forward progress for these running backs. Eli Manning never has his touchdown. Never has his Super Bowl ring. If we're going to do forward you can't.
There was no whistle.
Do that, man.
There was no whistle.
And it was just like in the Memphis game that you did.
It's the same crew, Slay.
It's the
For
same
the Memphis
crew.
game?
It's the same crew.
Same ref. It's the ones that I watched in the
the one that called the touchdown incorrectly on the Mississippi State punt return, or the Memphis punt return.
It was the Memphis punt return that honestly changed the game and was really the deciding.
Slay put his mic down.
There was
saying, "Are you kidding me?"
It's an SEC officiating crew because it was at Memphis. It was Mississippi State at Memphis.
Listen,
it's an SEC officiating crew. They have had a rough year.
There was a play early. It was like 1st and 10, offsides. Okay, 1st and 5. Everybody even if you don't know a lot of football, you know that. So the officials spot the ball 7 yards. So this Ole Miss guy next to me is like, oh, look at that. It's 1st and 3. I'm like, they don't even know how to spot the ball. This is going to be a long day. And guess what it was? They couldn't spot the ball on penalties like many times in that game. I have no idea what these guys – look, and those of you that are officials, I know a lot of y'all are listening to me, and I know it's a hard job. But if you're going to do that job, do the best you can. And this crew –
But that's bare minimum.
Ain't no apologies for it, though. Now, you get
that's bare
critiqued.
minimum.
Now, you get critiqued. Like, y'all did a –
Slay is shook.
Hey, that's bad,
The
man.
play on Corral when he got hit and dropped the ball, he had given himself up, was what they said. He had given himself up. I'm like, okay, so if I have the football and I catch a pass and I just stand there and I'm like,
I gave myself up.
I'm not going to get hit.
Get out of here, man. I don't want to hit.
That is
man.
such bullcrap.
Matt Corral never gives himself
No,
there's the other part of it.
his shoulder.
That's the other part of it.
Now, what happened was it looked like, I don't know this, you'd have to ask him, but it looked like he thought that there was a whistle, like a false start or something.
Yeah, and
because
so
he didn't really move, honestly.
Hey, man.
And then he got hit, but I mean, you've seen that happen in play.
No ref was waving. At least in the Memphis game, the back judge was waving his arms like blowing the dead. Like in this one, nobody blowing the dead.
No,
the 2 officials ran with Tyler Barron.
They did.
Like, where are y'all going in? Hey, man, come on, man. See, boy,
game-changing play, man.
Ooh, hey, all right. You should have never told me that, Babs.
Real quick,
like that.
Yeah.
That is not cool.
Same one.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the SEC had to actually put out a statement about the Mississippi State-Memphis game because that was such a big deal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I say all that. My bad.
Slay shook.
Oh, yeah. The throwing of the items was definitely wrong. You don't do that.
Yeah, no, there's no.
But I will say that was a culmination of everything adding up to that point. Like, with the self-inflicted wounds, with the officiating, with what they were getting away with, guys falling down, all of that, that was that. Not an excuse for it. But I will say this. It's the exact same thing. I'm going to tell you this, too, right now. When opponents storm the field, when a home team storm the field, it's just as dangerous. When I was at Georgia, I told y'all the story. When I was on the court and they beat us and they stormed the court. Like, you don't know what these people about to run up on you and do. So we're going to be safe about it. Let's be safe all the way across the board. Like, hey, man, I can't believe that. Oh, I can't believe
Here's the one thing.
Wow, they got to do another game?
As I got hit in the head by a full beer can early in the fourth quarter. I thought it was the third quarter, but I think it was early in the fourth quarter.
Who is wasting that?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Number one, beer's expensive.
Man, very.
Like, come on.
But I got hit way before the barrage with the 54 seconds to go.
Yeah.
Like, way before that.
Oh, Babs, you messed me up.
I do think it's funny that, like, some national guys want to paint the entire fan base as that.
You can't do that. It's extremists in every fan base and everything in life. Like, I mean, listen, this is the SEC
like
and it means
Tennessee's
more, but it's a great fan base.
Tennessee's the only school that's ever had fans throw things on a field or court.
Come on, man.
I mean, come on.
Let's stop.
I mean, I know it's dangerous and it's awful, and those that did it need to be arrested. And by the way, I talked to let's say an authority figure this morning that said that they have cameras all over the stadium.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, they have cameras all over the stadium, and they are reviewing the tape, and they are going to arrest people.
Yeah, they should. You can't do that. You can't
because
man.
The way I was told the student tickets work now is you're assigned that seat. That's your seat for the whole year.
Oh, really?
So even if it wasn't you in that, you're going to have to answer questions about
who you sold the ticket to or whatever it may be.
Or who you gave it to.
So we'll see.
Now, it was a lot of a lot of it came from the student section.
Yeah.
Everything that I saw came from the student section. Now, other people I've heard have said there was stuff in other parts of the stadium, but everything I saw, I mean, it was like.
Yeah.
Nobody threw anything from my section.
Well, Mr. Babs had a buddy that was there with his son and he said actually that the stuff around him that was thrown and he's not a Tennessee fan.
Right.
They just went to experience it. Like his son is looking at a bunch of different colleges, right? And he said it was from Ole Miss fans in their section.
Yeah, I can believe that too.
Well,
so
they were
it looks
upset
like
too.
it's
it
looks like it's a mixture of
when I got hit in the head, my son Connor was next to me. He goes, "Dad, you got hit after the Tennessee interception." So I don't
he's like documenting it all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got hit in the head. I don't know. But I don't think a Tennessee fan would have thrown a full beer after an interception from Matt Corral, his first of the season, by the way.
Yeah, he might have smashed the can on his head after finishing it.
You can say it's a bad look and still not paint the entire fan base into it.
That wouldn't be right.
You can still sit here and say, look, it's embarrassing. It's not a good look.
Yeah.
All of that. Like, I know Tennessee fans are very defensive of people saying that, but you can sit here and say it's embarrassing and it's a bad look and still also not paint that entire fan base with the same brush.
There you go.
It's just too easy to do that. I mean, obviously, you're just poking a bear when you're doing that. It's so stupid to do
painting everybody?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same as politics. Like, you can't paint every single supporter of one certain thing in the same
It would be like
circle.
us painting all these officials from the Mississippi State and Memphis game, just like this group that happened to go back and do another game.
Oh, wait, they're the same.
Oh, they came back again?
Hey, we got to figure out where they are next week. I'm going to watch that game.
Wow.
It's going to be some fireworks.
Come on, man. Come on.
All right, when we come back, more. I've got the story on the mustard, too. A lot of people are like, why did somebody bring mustard to the game? I've got what I believe to be the answer on that deal next on 104.5 The Zone. streaming like salmon up the stream. Is that salmon swim upstream?
No,
Is
it's like salmon.
Oh, not salmon.
What? Don't.
Here we go again.
No. Play.
Listen.
Just saying.
Here we go. Speaking of that, every time I watch a Nance Romo game now, and by the way, the Cowboys-Patriots game was like a playoff game. It was awesome. Yeah. It had everything in there. And Dak Prescott threw for 445 yards. That's the most passing yards ever given up by Belichick, Patriots defense.
Belichick?
Yeah, Belichick.
What in the world?
Well, everybody says Belichick, but it's really Belichick. But I got him wrong.
Could be
I went Belichick.
Belichick.
But yeah, that was great. 445 through the air for Dak. Why do people not like Dak? I love Dak.
I don't. Do people not like Dak?
Yeah,
it's just because he's a cat. Because that dude
Dallas
is.
fans, where's Kirby? Dallas fans do not like Dak, right? Correct. Don't trust him.
Because they don't trust him. But Dallas fans.
Dak Prescott?
Dallas fans have issues.
Isn't that a thing? A weird thing?
I wish he'd leave.
They got issues.
I wish he'd leave.
They got issues. This is Kirby. He's like Romo. He'll choke under pressure. Dak Prescott is, man, that kid is so impressive. I worked his last bowl game at Mississippi State and chatted with him for a long time prior to that game. And he is the most impressive college kid that I have ever talked to.
He won me over.
Ever.
He won me over. I'm going to be real. And what he's doing with that franchise, great, terrific job.
Real quick.
Right now.
Back to the Tennessee thing. Because the people throwing all the crap hijacked how amazing of an experience that was. Tennessee has stepped their game up, man.
Yeah.
That in-game experience at Neyland Stadium, that night light show thing before the game, and then the team running out in the dark with the orange and the LED lights.
With the team lit up.
It was an unbelievable day.
I was about losing my mind. And there was some people up there sitting by me, and they were saying, man, I can't believe you're up here cheering like that. What am I supposed to come to the game and do? Sit down? And what? Man, listen.
Dude, you were in the hotty-totty section there.
Man, and if everybody can scream, do you know what that does? What if everybody screamed at the same time? Woo! Hey, man, see, that's what I want to be a part of.
It was as loud in that building as it's been in years.
Man, that was it.
Everybody knows I'm not a Tennessee fan. I'm not an alum.
Yeah, but you went after Walken the other day, so you might be creeping back up the chart.
That's right. I got some.
She did get some love.
I got some big orange love on that one. Okay, but that guy's an idiot, right? And then he tweets again. Of course,
again about
he
the fan
just
base.
loves what happened on Saturday because he can just run with it. And I wanted to be like, dude, Wolken, nobody can see your dang tweet because you have blocked every single Tennessee fan ever. Trust me, with my beef with him on Twitter.
Yeah.
I found out just how many Tennessee fans are blocked because it is more followers than I probably actually have on Twitter.
According to some people, 102, 455 minus however many Ole Miss had there.
Yeah.
Although I've heard from people that Ole Miss fans were throwing stuff too. I mean, just Ole Miss fans have been known to throw stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day, Admiral Schofield took a charge that they didn't like at the end of the game. And everything on the floor. Everything on the floor. But
it's fan bases in general.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Have the bad ones.
Walken and those guys would paint the picture that everybody in attendance threw something on the field.
Right.
It's not true, dude.
Silly.
I was in the student section. There was like a few hundred people maybe.
Yeah.
And even if it's less than 1%.
Yeah.
So don't paint the entire fan base as this or that. Or I'm going to tell the fan base, just own it. Be the gangster fan base.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Miami back in the 80s. Just own it.
Yeah. But this is the thing.
Y'all want some? Here we go.
We got something for you.
Bill's Mafia, they're right over there.
Oh, they got some.
Okay. Can I take you off the ledge here? Okay. No, you should be holding those fans that took away from what this amazing environment, this amazing Tennessee team has done, that all the attention is now on what actually happened and mustard bottles.
Oh, yeah.
You should be holding those fans in your fan base accountable for that bad behavior.
That's no question.
It's not the whole fan base.
Nope.
But and don't come at me with, they need to stop selling alcohol in stadiums.
No.
Trust me. Many of us were in college before. They make bras nowadays that you can wear and bring in your liquor.
Preach to 'em.
So don't give me that crap.
Preach.
But
Davenport.
it's the other fans that are around those that are making poor decisions that need to hold their own
That's
fan
factual.
base accountable and say, look, this is not what we do. This isn't how we do it.
No.
These refs might be garbage, but this is not how we let them know that they're garbage.
Yeah, it was-
You got to hold each other accountable in situations like this.
Well said. In all seriousness, yes, I was just kidding earlier. But no, while I was standing there watching things go right over the top of my head and all around me and hitting, like the dangerous parts were because by then, like most of the beer cans were empty, so they weren't really doing all that much. But the loaded water bottles,
yeah.
that's what was, just.
I think the one Lane reached out and snagged as he was walking back under the tunnel, which was quite impressive. He's a little
Great
athlete
catch.
there.
Yeah.
I think it was actually a dip.
Yeah, somebody been dipping it out. That was definitely
like,
a dip,
oh, that's
dip bottle.
disgusting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mustard bottle.
Mustard bottle. For all those that are wondering why would somebody bring in a mustard bottle? Tennessee at the concession stand does not have packets of ketchup or mustard. I don't know why. And they don't have the gigantic dispenser that you'll see inside Nissan Stadium. I don't know why.
Push it.
It's like your Aunt Emily's picnic where she just got the bottle of French's mustard that she bought at Kroger or whatever. And that's what's sitting there. Like right when you walk up the aisle and into the they're just bottles of mustard sitting there. So somebody just grabbed one and chucked it.
That's
There you go.
There it is.
So it's not like somebody brought that into the game.
Yes. Neyland Stadium is a packetless place.
Yeah.
Even after COVID, how about that?
Yeah, why are beer cans even involved? Why are they not pouring those into cups?
Break.
Hello.
Great point, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Chris Lowe, when we come back, he was there. He did a piece on Lane Kiffin's day. That's
I can't wait to hear this.
Yes. Chris Lowe next on 104.5 The Zone. Reporting A.J. Brown is expected to play tonight.
Hey!
There we go.
Let's go, AJ. Come by with me, bro.
That from Adam Schefter. A.J. Brown expected to play tonight. So Christian Fulton on IR. That's not good news. Amani Hooker expected to play as well. He's on the 53-man roster. That is good news. Calling all Titans fans, if you are attending the Bills-Titans game tonight, make sure to have the latest version of the Titans app downloaded on your phone. A new app update has been released for the Titans app, and it is required for entry for Monday night's game tonight. Update your app today through the Apple Store and Google Play.
I got an email saying that there's some kind of very cool light show that might be happening tied to the app.
Jim Wyatt reported that, actually, that there will be a pregame light show.
Great.
So there you go. Titans fans that are walking by, Buffalo Bills fans that are walking by.
Be in the building.
Everybody have a good time, get along, all that stuff. If you want to stay away from the Bills fans, they are congregating at Limelight. Right?
Yes,
What's wrong with you?
Me and Babs were having a conversation.
Sorry.
Clearly.
Yeah.
All right.
Clearly not on air.
Chris Lowe is on the air now, and Chris Lowe was in Knoxville, as I understand it, and had some people that kept telling me they were running into Chris Lowe, and that's good because Lane Kiffin was in town, so there was plenty to write about, right, Chris?
That's right. And I got to meet some of your peeps, Brent, which was always it's always a lot of fun to meet people. But no, it was.
I saw my man A.J. Krieger, who's 10-year-old super stud athlete, got quoted in your one of your pieces.
Yeah, great family, great kid. And I had a lot of fun Saturday. That was a great scene, man. I had a chance to go around and visit with fans at tailgates and friends of mine from college. And I don't think I've seen it, and I haven't been to a lot of Tennessee games in the last 3 or 4 years, but I haven't seen it like that leading up to the game and both during the game. I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years. Maybe the Florida game when they beat Florida there might be the closest.
Maybe.
But it was great.
But the Florida game, though, was a daytime game, and Tennessee sucked in the beginning
right.
and didn't come back until the second half, and a lot of people left at halftime.
Yeah.
I saw it. So kind of a different deal in that it was a night game. It was, things back to normal population-wise. It was Lane Kiffin coming to town. It was you have a legit chance to beat a top 13 ranked team in the country. I think it was just kind of a confluence of a lot of things that led to that. Plus, Chris, the University of Tennessee turning Neyland Stadium into what we saw on Saturday night, unbelievable college atmosphere.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, everything. I mean, the fact that it was a night game and it was loud. I was on the field for the last, 4 or 5 minutes. The tough thing about covering a game for Neyland is you're in that press box and you feel like you're sort of in a fishbowl. You can't really get a feel for how loud the crowd is. But being on the field for those last 4 minutes, I mean, your ears are ringing. It was pretty special, to have that environment. And then to have it all sort of go, sour there at the end, those last 54 seconds. I mean, I'm sure you guys have hashed and rehashed that to death. It's sort of sad, that it ended that way. And I sort of agree a little bit with what Josh Heupel said. That's the way, if you're a Tennessee fan or Tennessee coach or player, that's the way you always want to see Neyland Stadium. But the reality is what across the country in Middlesex, New Jersey, and LA, California, and Sarasota, Florida, they're going to see the last 54 seconds, and that's all anybody's going to think about.
It's true. It was pretty amazing. There were so many elements to this game that were amazing. Number one, Matt Corral is maybe the best player in college football. I mean, everything went through him.
If I'm voting right now, I've got a Heisman vote. Brent, if I'm voting right now, he's my Heisman winner.
I have one too, and Don does too, and I'd vote for him right now also.
Hey, wait a minute. Who I need to talk to, CeeLo, to give me one? We got to get us something, CeeLo.
And we paid a lot of money for our vote.
I could hook you up, Clay.
Okay, yeah, hook me up, CeeLo, man. Mine gonna mean something too.
But you know what else is impressive, Chris, is what Tennessee did defensively in the second half, I thought. Now, they never really contained him from running the football. 30 carries for a quarterback is unbelievable to me. But in the second half, Matt Corral was 8 of 13 for 55 yards, a touchdown, and his only interception of the season. And that kind of kept Tennessee in it.
Yeah. See, I think everything Tennessee did the other night was special. I mean, for them to be as down as they were in the offensive line with both the Mays brothers out, their best offensive player, Tyon Evans, is out, and to hang in there defensively the way you said they did, I mean, I think it says a lot. And I know, again, I don't want to keep harping on all the fans throwing, or the select few fans that did throw things on the field. But my chief takeaway from that game is that Josh Heupel, with what he's had to work with, and his staff, not just Josh, has really squeezed about everything and then some out of this football team. I mean, they were right there. If they don't give away a touchdown there early in the game on a muff point punt, then they win that game, and they're severely shorthanded. So I think there's a lot to take from that game from a football perspective if you're a Tennessee fan. And yeah, you're going to get bashed, and you embrace it, wear it by the media all across the country, and probably not deservedly that everyone gets bashed within the stadium, because that's not the way you do it. It's never fair to paint with a broad brush an entire group of people when there's a few idiots doing it, but that's the way it is. Mm-hmm. But I look at it more from what happened on the field and what Josh Heupel and the players and his staff have done to this point. Because I'm going to tell you, Brent, they've far exceeded my expectations to this point.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, CeeLo. Let me ask you this. This team, the way they performed, and it's only so much moral victories you can take away from these games. when it gets deep into the season, you look at South Alabama, not to skip over Alabama and Georgia, but you're looking at the teams like South Alabama, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt as games that are winnable and will put you over the hump, especially getting an opportunity to go bowling. Does the depth play a factor once you get that deep into the season, and will they have enough to muster up, you think?
Yeah, Ron, that's exactly was my concern at the start of the season, just exactly what you said, that this team was so thin even coming into the season that once they got into the teeth of the schedule, the second half, in the SEC in particular, man, that's where it really shows up. And you see how beaten up they are right now. I mean, Hooker, I don't know if Hooker's going to be able to play this week. It looked like a nasty injury to me. I'm not sure about Tyron Evans. I'm not sure about Cade Mays. They already were shorthanded. So that's where, going forward, I've got no questions about how this team will buy in, how hard it will play. I think they'll play pretty smart. Tim Banks and what he's been able to get out of that defense is pretty remarkable. But those games you mentioned, South Alabama, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, if you would have told me going into the second half of the season that Tennessee needed to win 2 of those 3 games, South Alabama, Vanderbilt, or Kentucky, to get to a bowl, I would have said, man, I think any Tennessee fan would have said, I'll take that every time. But I do think it's going to be more difficult. Certainly if Hooker's injury is long-term, which Josh Heupel said today it wasn't, and they can't get back the Mays brothers on the offensive line, and if Tyron Evans is out long-term. But even that said, I think with what Tennessee's been able to do, and they've been able to sort of create some depth in the defensive line. Rodney Garner's done a terrific job. I still like Tennessee's chances to be playing in the bowl game. And you know what the greatest value of that is? Is all the practice time these guys get in December on campus and then at the bowl site. Because remember, nobody had a spring practice last year. So all these guys that are second-year players or redshirt freshmen, they had no spring practice last year. So getting those dates to practice is almost like an extra practice time for a team that's just in year 1 under Josh Heupel.
Chris Lowe with us, ESPN. If you haven't read the behind the scenes of Lane Kiffin's wild return to Tennessee, go check it out, ESPN.com. Chris, something stood out to me. You, of course, got full access to kind of document all of it, but this Kiffin quote, I didn't say anything all week, Kiffin told the players. This was obviously a big deal personally, so I want to thank you guys. A chorus of players roared back, we got you, coach. What did you learn by being on the inside and really getting to witness this entire kind of homecoming?
Yeah, well, number one, Lane Kiffin, probably more than you would ever care to admit, really wanted to come into Tennessee and win that game. It meant a little more than he ever let on during the week. Number two, Lane really likes Tennessee. I think he digs the passion of the fans. He even said that, that it matters so much to Tennessee people. And number three, he's still Lane Kiffin. He's still going to poke. He's still going to prod. He's still going to troll. Whether you're Nick Saban, whether you're the Tennessee fan base, whether it's me, whether it's you, that's just sort of who he is, and he's never going to change. And I think the fact that the game was hanging in the balance, you had all the bottles and everything going on the field at the end, just sort of is fitting in a lot of ways. I mean, because the last time he left Tennessee, there was chaos on campus. Chaos with the media, chaos with students, burning mattresses. And then this time, as he's walking off the field, people are giving him, in Lane's verbiage, they're giving him the number one sign with the middle finger, and they're throwing bottles and popcorn on him. And, and a lot of it, listen, I think he's sort of, not that he wants to have golf balls thrown at him, but I think he sort of eats that kind of thing up.
Without question.
That's just sort of who he is.
Oh, and he eggs it on,
yeah,
too.
Exactly.
Night game, that atmosphere, Dawn. I think he ate every bit of it up.
Yeah.
Need to read Chris's pieces from this weekend at CeeLo ESPN on Twitter, ESPN.com. Check him out. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate you.
CeeLo, for the record, I didn't throw anything. I drunk all mine.
Yeah, me too.
I would expect nothing less from you, Slade.
See you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
If you're wondering about the impact crowd behavior might have on recruits that were there, Jaden Davis, the number one player in the 2024 class, tweeted, nothing like Neyland Stadium, loyal, passionate fans, the heart emoji, orange, the fruit emoji, hashtag GBO, hashtag GoVols, at Coach Josh Heupel. There you go. Derrick Henry leads the NFL by 117 rushing yards even before the Titans play tonight. Mike Keith, the voice of the Titans, joins us live as we go wall-to-wall Titans right now on 104.5 The Zone.
On offense because you're going to have to put some points on the board when you play the Buffalo Bills.
And coaches that I've talked to have meetings sometimes, some of them. How many points am I going to need? Basically. Sure. And this is one of those games where you're going to need some points.
Next two. You know, when you look at this game and the Chiefs. He's been back for a couple of games, but I don't think he's playing like Anthony Ferkser right now. Hopefully that's coming back. And then you see the other parts of it with the offense. You got Marcus Johnson back last week. You see what he adds. Westbrook-Akina had done some good things early on. Obviously, Chester Rogers has been better than what some thought. Cameron Batson gives you an available piece to do different things with, but it comes down to A.J. and Julio. If this offense is really going to take flight, it's A.J. and Julio being healthy and making plays.
And Ryan Tannehill having the ability to throw the ball and find them, the protection to be able to get to them. And that's a big question mark, this offensive line with so many injuries, and they've been so beat up. And now Tyson Braylow retires because he's battling injury and he's done. What does that group look like heading into this one tonight?
Better.
Okay.
Better, Dawn. I think that's the part of it that you're happiest about is they have gotten to practice together this week. But the other part of it, too, back to Julio and A.J., you're not able to do as many tricky things in terms of blitzes or sending wild concepts because you're afraid that those two guys can take it to the house. That's the part of it that they didn't have in the Jets game. They were playing so tight, and they were just storming the castle because they didn't fear any of the receivers. You've got to fear those two players. Even just having A.J. back last week backed Jacksonville off some, and this should do more of that tonight, even though Buffalo isn't really a blitzing team. Mm-hmm. They are very familiar to Baltimore back in the day that they feel like their personnel and their 4-3 with their 4 or 5 defensive backs is good enough to stop yours. And I was just watching their game with Kansas City again today, and what do? Made everything hard. Kansas City had to drive the football. And, yes, Mahomes made some plays, and Kelsey made some plays, and Hill made some plays. But the fact that, yeah, okay, you just gained 20 yards, they tackle, you got to get up and do it again. That's what they do so well. You can't miss any opportunities. I think the Titans in this ball game tonight need an easy touchdown somewhere, a return, a defensive touchdown, a long pass. Derrick Henry certainly knows how to do that too. I think that is a necessary element in this game tonight.
You mentioned watching Kansas City game, and because people sit here and say, okay, well, look at what they did defensively against them. But they also, those are different receivers than what the Titans receivers look like, right? You know what I mean?
100%.
I mean, it's a different look.
Well, these receivers for the Titans are more route runners, more traditional. That's about speed.
Yes.
They're out in space. They're making plays, and they have it designed totally to the style of their quarterback. They also don't have the running game the Titans do. And when Edwards-Helaire went out of that ball game, that showed itself even more. So, we'll see. But I think the Titans are clearly going to need their best effort of the year, and they're going to need their cleanest effort of the year if they're going to have a chance to beat the Bills tonight.
Yeah, they're not going to blitz. That's been pretty consistent with them, but they have been playing with a too high safety look, especially in that Kansas City game. I would anticipate one of those safeties being closer to the line of scrimmage, rolled up in the box, perhaps, which would give you that play fake in breaking route game from Julio Jones and A.J. Brown with the possibility of making a big play.
Don't be surprised if they don't.
Okay.
That's what's really interesting about how they play is –
Yet they're third in the league in stuffing the run.
Well, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
They're fantastic at stuffing the run. And those two safeties, Hyde and Poyer, they're older players. They're smart players. Even Taron Johnson, the fifth defensive back who they just gave the contract extension to, he's another guy that's a smart player. And when you have a 265-pound middle linebacker, a lot of times you don't have to put an extra guy in the box. Edmonds is fantastic, and he has played great against us every year.
Edmonds is a guy. I was just about to hit on that. Like when we go against these guys, man, you see them when you play teams like Seattle. You saw it in Arizona. Man, guys that's getting east and west. How do we negate them from having an impact in the game with this offensive line being patchworked in a sense?
You just have to be consistent. I think that's the part of this that is such a big deal for the Titans. For example, the Titans have already dropped 10 passes this year.
Right.
They dropped 12 passes all of last year. Tonight's not the night you can drop a pass. Guess what Kansas City did last week against them? Dropped a bunch of passes.
Yeah.
You can't put yourself in those situations because they play so consistently and so smart. Okay, you get 2 yards on first down, you throw an in cut, you got a 6-yard gain, maybe you break a tackle, pick up the first down, but you can't drop the pass and then have it be 3rd and 8.
Right.
Because that's when they go to town on you. That's where, they're 32% against third downs, and they are just so good. This was a team that was really built for defense, and then guess what? They draft this quarterback, and he turns out to be better than anybody could have imagined. Mm-hmm. We were at the Senior Bowl with him, and he was the science project. He was the guy everybody was watching and saying, can he be, at Wyoming, he was a 57% passer, and he, at times it looked like he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. What do? They bring him in. They bring him along slowly. They give him a running game. They give him defense. They're not afraid to let him run. They work on his mechanics. He's a hard worker. He improves. They go get him Stephon Diggs.
I was going to say, they give him Diggs.
They give him Diggs. He becomes a Pro Bowler. I mean, everything has come up roses for them in what their plan is, but the essence of the plan was always about defense first, in spite of how good their offense is.
They've got a 34-year-old wide receiver, Emmanuel Sanders, that's been dominant too. I mean, it's amazing to see what they've been able to put together. And then Dawson Knox, obviously from Nashville, his dad just walked by here. Most touchdowns for a tight end in the NFL right now.
Yeah, the two of them combined have 9 touchdown catches and nearly 600 yards receiving. Diggs has been okay, and Cole Beasley's been okay.
Yeah.
Gabriel Davis, who had a great rookie year last year, hasn't really done anything so far, and that's because the ball is going to Samuels, and to Knox right now. And, they can throw the backs. This Moss, the second-year back from Utah, continues to come on. Motor Singletary's going to come on at a certain point. He's too good now.
Yeah. He's only caught 8 passes.
Well, but Moss
5.2 yards per carry.
Well, but Moss has been playing more lately, but Singletary is really a good-looking player as well. They have a fullback in Reggie Gilliam that they use in different ways. I mean, they've got a lot of weapons, and because their quarterback is a magician, they're able to work in all of these parts.
A really big magician. 6'5". 237 pounds, 312 yards per game through the air, 12 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions. The Titans intercepted him twice last year.
Right.
He's only got 2 the entire season this year.
And he's only been sacked 5 times.
So do you cage rush this guy to keep him in the pocket, or do you want him to
I think you just cage him. You're just trying to get your arms around him however
they
you
call run plays for him.
Well, he runs.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a single wing tailback. Vrabel said it last week. He said they're running the Wildcat with a guy who could throw for 300 yards a game. He is a true single wing tailback with how they run him. They'll run the old 10 play with him off tackle. I mean, they're not scared to do it, and it's exciting to see what he's able to do unless your team's playing him. Then it's not great.
Mike Keith, voice of the Titans, with us on 3HL. Live on site at Nissan Stadium.
Yes, lots of Bills fans here as well. But
there's a Reds fan right there.
Titans news. I saw a Vikings jersey earlier.
I saw a Red Wings jersey.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is, right there.
There you go. Titans news earlier today, Christian Fulton to IR, which is just a dagger with how well he's been playing. And what do you see there now to step in and fill those shoes?
Caleb Farley.
Yeah.
It's his time. First career start tonight.
Might as well,
Welcome
right?
to the Bigs, bud.
Man, let's go get to it.
Here's Josh Allen. Welcome in.
Well,
get to
this
it.
is why you drafted him, and he's been back at practice for a while, and it probably won't be perfect, but I have a feeling you will see a play or two in this game that will show you exactly why he is as special as he is. His length, his athleticism, the fact that he triggers on the run plays, even though he didn't tackle anybody until he got to college. He had never tackled anybody till he arrived at Virginia Tech.
Crazy.
This is a guy who, he gives him something special. I think you're going to see Elijah Molden again tonight as well. Chris Jackson will probably play too. They'll rotate a lot of guys through. You have Breon Borders, who you feel confident in, sort of as that third corner. But Farley's your future, and you're going to see some of the future tonight. And you hope that he's up to what will be a really big challenge for this entire defense. But, not having Fulton hurts. I mean, there's no question about it. Now, the part of this, by IRing him today, this counts as one of the 3 games. Yeah. So, he could be back in a few weeks, certainly, in time for some of the big games in November, and you want to have him back. But I think Amani Hooker coming back is a massive lift to this defense, in particular in this game, because that second safety who can really run can be a big factor in this game.
Mike Keith, voice of the Titans, with us on 3HL, and it's amazing how balanced this football team is over the course of the last 4 weeks. I'm just going to erase that Pittsburgh Steelers game in the opener because it was the opener, but the last 4 games, they're playing as well as anybody has over a 4-game stretch with 2 shutouts, 156-41. I mean, it's crazy how good this football is.
Here's the stat. They lead the league in scoring offense, and they lead the league in scoring defense. They are the 4th team since the merger, the 4th since the merger, which is 51 years. 4th team to do that since the merger. So in 51 years, only 4 teams have come out of Week 5 leading the National Football League in scoring offense and scoring defense, and that's who's here tonight at Nissan Stadium. You don't need to be a mathematician or get into cybermetrics or biometrics or any kind of – you don't need any of that, whatever that is. What do you call it? Analytics.
Analytics, that's right.
You don't need
Numbers
any of that.
that don't matter. Don't matter.
It's points, and it's points again.
There you go.
And they're outscoring the opposition basically 35-13, even though they lost the first game of the season.
Okay, but here, this will piss off the Bills fans. I mean, have the Bills really been truly tested? If you do the combined wins of this Bills team coming into Sunday, it was only 8 combined.
I get it, but I don't – see,
That's for you right there in the front.
Hey, that win at Kansas City showed me what I needed to see.
Well, they wore them out.
I mean, just wore them out.
I mean, they were in control of that. After they went up 14-10, they were in control of that ball game the rest of the way. And I don't know what Kansas City has based on other years. I know they've been to the last 2 Super Bowls, and their quarterback is otherworldly, and they only gave up 20 points and did a great job. So I think they're for real as much based on what has happened in the last 2 years as has what has sort of gone on this year. They've built it. They've kept it together. They've spent the money. They've just done a miraculous job of putting this thing together, and they now control the AFC East. And it's a big opportunity for the Titans. You get to 4-2 if you win it. It's an AFC win potentially. You'd have a win over them in case that mattered come January, which you never know how those things can factor. So, I mean, nothing will be decided forever tonight. They don't win the Super Bowl. We don't win the Super Bowl tonight. And whoever loses, your year's not over. But it's a pretty good measuring stick about what you want to look like. And I'm interested to see if the Titans can take what they did last week and build on it. And that's scoring in the red zone, good third down defense, playing well situationally, particularly at the end of the first half and other times when they had big situations. Can they build on what their template is if they're going to be successful? They got to do it better, but that's where they have to be.
I always feel so much better about things after talking with Mike Key.
He does that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the outlook
You'd be
is
a
better.
great life coach.
Yeah.
Like, just let me pick the
Is
topic.
there money in that?
Maybe.
I don't know. If there's money in that, let's talk.
I love it. Hey, have a great broadcast.
We're going to try.
We'll be listening.
We're excited.
All right.
And remind everybody to if they're coming, download the app. Download the new Titans app if you're coming to the stadium tonight. That's big towards entry, and that's big towards I understand the light show. I'm not.
Yes.
I'm learning about that, but
You got to make sure it's updated.
it has to be updated. That's exactly right. And that stuff happens all the time, and so they've tried very hard over the last 48 hours to get the word out to update that app and make sure you have the current Titans app.
Yep, here's how it reads. Make sure to download the latest version of the Titans app from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store prior to arriving at the stadium. Fans with outdated versions of the app will not be able to access their tickets on game day.
Yeah, so you don't want to walk in. You don't want to be the guy at the door. I downloaded this 6 months ago.
I got my ticket.
I got it right here. It's
Tell
like,
me.
no. We're telling you have to update that. But I already updated it. No, don't do that. Don't be that guy.
Well, we ran out of time, so I couldn't ask you about what happened at Nissan Stadium over the weekend. But maybe we'll get into that some other time.
Yeah, okay.
There he is. Voice of the Titans, Mike Keith. Give it up for him. We'll be right back. Buck Rising will join us. He said, let me get an update on Buck Rising because I need to read this fully from him to Joe Hunk. And I give proper credit. That's not it. We keep going. There it is from Buck. I'm sitting in traffic behind a city bus and a converted fire truck full of S-word faced Bills fans. Can we do it by phone? Yes, Buck, we can. Buck Rising next on 3HL.
The Titans and Too close to the microphone because I'm breathing hard. It's crap. It's so covered in Bills fans.
It's amazing.
The way into the stadium, it's insane.
So you were
crazy.
You were behind like a party truck full of drunk Bills fans. Is that what happened?
So what are we up to in terms of converted vehicles that are used for drunk transportation? Because the fire truck's a new one for me.
I haven't seen
That's
the
a
fire
new one. I
truck.
haven't seen that one either.
That's a new one. I saw it.
I haven't seen that
It's
one.
a nightmare. I hate it. Send it into the surface of the sun.
No roof, baby.
You look sharp today.
Thank you.
Little game day attire. Very nice.
Yeah, I had to. It's prime time. Not just prime time for the players.
Right.
For all of us, Dawn.
I mean, all your crappy takes, but you clean up nice.
Listen,
what do you know?
I didn't sprint across the parking lot to fight with you about players faking injury. I won't do it.
Well,
You will
admit
not bait me, Dawn.
You wish that you didn't put that tweet out now, don't you?
Oh, no, because a million other things happened, so my bad take was completely erased.
It was covered up.
It was completely
by other
That's
bad
right. I
takes?
just got you to admit it. So
It was
I'm
great.
good.
No, I know what I did.
Life is
That's
good.
all right.
I know what I
Life is
did.
good.
Well,
I know what happened.
you have to look good when you're on the sideline because people think you're Andrew Luck. And so they're like,
They're like, oh my gosh, Luck is back.
if you didn't dress nicely,
What?
then everybody would murder him on Twitter.
That and my hairline's better.
Your hairline is better.
Yes.
Yeah.
He looks terrible, by the way.
Deep frying him.
He looks terrible.
All right,
It's a
so
tough scene.
A.J. Brown reportedly go tonight. How big is that for this offense?
It's massive. Listen, they're gonna need everything that they've got and everything that we haven't yet seen to beat the Buffalo Bills. I'm sure you guys have talked about it with everybody over the course of the week. They don't have a discernible flaw to them on any side of the ball. You are going to flat out need to beat the best team in the AFC because we thought it was the Chargers. The Chargers got absolutely smacked around by the Baltimore Ravens over the weekend. They've still got a quarterback that's learning even as great as he looks. The Bills have somebody who we've never seen before. I mean, they have physically played him several times before this, but the precedent for what Josh Allen is right now and the way that they're using him, they're absolutely dominating people.
What do you even do to him? Because, if you
knock
want
the holy hell out of him.
Well, if you want to put pressure on him, he escapes. He makes plays. If you let him sit in the pocket, he's going to make plays. I mean, this is a tough matchup. Maybe as tough of a matchup you can have in the NFL when you play a quarterback.
The last time he played a bad football game was here on Tuesday night against the Tennessee Titans after the first COVID outbreak in the NFL, and he looked awful. He was throwing interceptions. They were causing turnovers. They haven't really done that at the same rate.
42-16, awful.
Yeah, no,
that was the score.
Really bad.
They put it on them. And they were complaining about, well, we were having a game plan for the Titans and also maybe the Chiefs because we didn't know if we were going to play. Whatever.
And they did have a bunch of injuries in that game.
Sure. Yeah. Tre'Davious White didn't play. Like, there's a bunch of reasons it looked the way that it did. But still, Josh Allen has not looked that bad since he played the Tennessee Titans. And that was without a pass rush. So with Bud Dupree, with Harold Landry, for guys that they're going to find ways to deploy and try and create confusion for the quarterback, they're going to disguise a lot of stuff in the secondary. And that's the only way that you can get this guy off your game, that and pressure him.
And you got a guy, you talk about the quarterback in Josh Allen, who is a guy we haven't seen. It's a guy in the middle on the other side, Edmonds, who I don't know if we've seen him too many times either, because this guy here is special too. Who does what to get to the second level to put hands on him? This man can't roam free.
Listen, the run blocking hasn't been like, it could be better,
right?
But that's not the least of their issues.
Protection.
Right now. So if you can continue to find ways to get hats on hats, get offensive linemen, get Roger Saffold to finish a game, and that's been as big a problem as anything right now. The reason the offensive line looks so poor is, as Keith Carter said to us last week, they can't build chemistry. They can't get confidence because they can't stay on the field all together at once. So you're going to have to get hats on hats. You're going to have to go straight up with them, and it's not going to look the same as it did against the Chiefs when they held the Chiefs down by 18 points at Kansas City. They're going to play a lot more safety down in the box. They're going to load it up, and they're going to try to do the thing that nobody's really done this year, which is stop Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
You talk about, though, that offensive line and finding consistency. How much did an extra day, Tyson Braylo gone, you had some time to work together in practice. I mean, is it in a better spot?
I mean, what's better than bad? You know what I'm saying? Like, they've been bad.
What do I always say? It can always get worse.
Yeah. Dawn ever the optimist.
It can always get worse.
No, I mean, listen, they're not in a good spot with their offensive line depth, but just as Caleb Farley's going to be thrown into the fire today because he's going to have to start with Christian Fulton out, Dylan Radins, if he's called upon, is going to have to know what the hell he's doing out here. Now, that's kind of a concern because he's been a healthy scratch a lot of weeks.
Because he hasn't known what the hell he is doing yet.
It's not ideal.
So.
It's not a great situation.
Yeah.
You would like a little better. But this is what you got. Go out and win.
All right, let's talk about Caleb Farley because Christian Fulton put on IR, which Mike Keith pointed out. The good thing is this counts as one game, so you're looking at basically two more, hopefully get him back a little bit sooner. But you don't have Christian Fulton, and that guy has been lights out for the Titans recently. And you've got Caleb Farley, who has battled, shoulder injury, came off the back injury. We haven't seen exactly what he can do. There's going to be, I was about to say freshman mistakes. There's going to be rookie mistakes. And hey, here, by the way, meet Josh.
Yes.
Welcome to the Bigs, kid.
Yes, not just Josh, but Stephon Diggs. They have a really, really talented group of skill position players. I mean, it's going to happen at some point. It's not ideal that your best corner goes on IR today. They do activate Amani Hooker off IR, which I'm sure you guys have covered, and that will help because Dane Cruikshank has not been an ideal solution back there without him. But what I'll say to you is, it's just going to have to be this way because Christian Fulton, the only positive spin I can put on that is they put him on IR today, which means today's game counts for the 3 games that he has to miss. Right. So he's going to have to miss Kansas City. He's going to have to miss at Indianapolis. But if you want your best corner back for anything, it's at L.A., the Chargers, Matt Stafford, Sunday Night Football. But they're going to have to survive without him.
There he is. He's Buck Rising.
What's your feel?
Easy work for Buck.
Do what?
What's your feel tonight?
Oh, what's my feel? I don't know. Listen, they're facing a team that's decidedly better than them. But we have seen them do more unthinkable things. They don't always win, but they make it competitive. And for them, they have to recognize the urgency of the situation because this can start a tailspin so quickly. It's not just about this week. It's about the next few weeks. And whatever criticisms there are of Mike Vrabel, they know how to survive. So we'll see if it happens.
That's the thing. All the analytics point bet Buffalo minus whatever.
I don't know. Low-key, if I was betting this game, I'd take – if I saw it on DraftKings plus 6.5, the Titans.
That's why
I would.
That's why I just went.
That's what you got?
I just went there.
Oh, you are going to be a nightmare to watch this game.
I just went there dude, this is how they respond to things like this, though.
Yeah.
It's not just football. It's the Titans, too.
That's true.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay.
Thank you, Buck.
You're welcome.
Appreciate
At
it, Buck.
Buck Rising
Glad we could do this.
on
Goodbye,
Twitter.
friends.
He is presented by Buddy Allen Carpet One. BuddyAllenCarpet1.com is the website. I'm going to tell you more about them in just a second. Stay tuned for that. Coming up next, we've got the Lee Company countdown to kickoff. Our special guest is someone that Buffalo Bills fans do not want to see.
Despise. They despise.
The Miracle Man himself, Kevin Dyson, will join us for the next hour live here outside Nissan Stadium. The Lee Company countdown to kickoff is next on 104.5 The Zone.
the approach that's old as time, or in football time anyway. Let's run the ball, let's eat up clock, let's control the pace and tempo of the game, let's keep Josh Allen and that offense on the sideline, and that's the way we want to play this game. Or is the approach, hey, they know Derrick Henry is our main offensive weapon, everybody knows he's going to get the ball, so in this given game, let's not ignore Henry, that's not my point, but let's maybe on first down, out of run personnel, run formations, take some shots.
Always have to get into Derrick Henry with you, of course. Titans have won 4 in a row against Jacksonville, 8 out of 9 now. Derrick Henry with 62 rushing touchdowns, is the third running back in franchise history with 60 or more. And the interesting thing about it, Eddie George was 64 in 8 seasons. Earl Campbell, one of my favorite players of all time, 73 in 6 seasons plus 6 games. Henry, 62 in 5 full seasons plus 6 games. So, we talk a lot about the impact that guy has on the football game, and you can just watch in the second half him doing what he does.
Derrick Henry's getting in some rarefied air. He really is, and he's doing it with legitimate work. I mean, it when you watch it, and you guys do it just like our listeners do. Everybody stacked the line of scrimmage on this dude now for 2 full seasons, and now for the first 5 weeks, and they're going to continue to do it. And, when you hear the broadcast, I thought Mike Keith, one of his better calls was the Yulee Bulldozer, because that's 100% right. And the thing about it is, and you hear me laughing in the background when he scores, because you look at those last 2 touchdowns he scored, I mean, everybody, they were stepping out of the way. They had enough. They'd had enough of that dude. This guy is as physical, a consistent physical dude as I've ever seen at the running back. And I have said this before, I came into this league with Walter Payton, and I thought I'd never see somebody that could consistently hammer you. This guy is different.
Kickoff. Take care of your home's heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical needs. Starting at $99 a year. Call 615-567-1000. The Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff is brought to you by Pinnacle Bank.
3 minutes.
Bank of your Tennessee Titans. Sign up for Titans Banking exclusively at Pinnacle. Visit TitansBanking.com. St. Thomas Health, making healthcare more convenient so you have more time to cheer on our Tennessee Titans. Find a doctor who's right for you by visiting stthomasdoctors.com. By PSC Metals. Did you know that PSC Metals recycles over 70 million pounds of metal every month? And guess what? They are hiring at all locations. They've been handling Nashville's metal recycling needs for over 100 years. Check them out at pscmetals.com or see their location adjacent to Nissan Stadium.
Lee Company customers feel
Hi.
Ron Slay.
I'm in the building. I'm outside the building.
You're just outside the building. You're
But I'm
close to being
it. I'm
in
real
the building.
close to the building, though.
This guy's been in the building a lot. Kevin Dyson joins us for this hour. What's up, man?
Merely just Kevin Dyson right now amongst greatness, I feel like.
Yes, we are. We are amongst you.
Excuse me.
You are correct.
Yes, you need to address him properly.
Dr. Dyson.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
Put that thing on.
Actually, I was going to say you got to throw a miracle in there, too.
Miracle Man, Dr.
Yes.
Dyson.
I mean, it is
yeah.
one of those days
Yeah.
and one of those games where we always
Yeah.
have to talk about it.
I got one, boo. Right there, I got one.
It was a
I got
far
one. Oh, here they come.
Here they come.
I've been waiting on it.
Yeah,
I've been
there
waiting
you
on
go.
it. Here they come. Here comes some of the boo birds.
Shattered the dreams,
There
man.
you go.
Shattered the dreams.
There we
man.
go.
Yikes.
It's been a long time.
We will
I hope
talk.
the mics don't pick up some of that.
We will talk about the Music City Miracle because we have you here and they are playing the Bills. So
Okay, of course.
it makes a lot of sense, right?
Yep.
But we need to talk about this matchup. And Tennessee, here's the question. Is this the group that we know? The group that plays up or down to the level of the competition? Great football team coming in here, maybe the best team in the NFL. Can the Titans match them down for down inside Nissan Stadium tonight?
He said yes.
Yeah, great answer.
Well, I tell you what, the NFL is about individual matchups, individual battles.
Yep.
And then you make less mistakes than your opponent. And when you have a game at the caliber of a team like the Buffalo Bills, who was trying to dethrone the Chiefs, and we've seen them beat them already, as the premier team in the AFC, this is a statement game for both teams. If you think about it, for both teams, this is a statement game. This is a statement game for the Bills to say, look, we are the team. It's coming through Buffalo. The championship's coming through Buffalo. For the Titans, this is to say, are we for real, or are we still a team searching for identity?
Yeah. Well, and the Bills heading into a bye week, too.
Yeah.
Like, they want nothing more than to put a statement out there. And I get it was last year, and it's a different team, but the Titans put a whooping on them, 42-16. Like, all of that – this is probably a Bills team that certainly wants to make that statement as they head into their bye week.
How many times did they see that highlight?
Oh,
yeah. Just
the stiff arm?
Yeah. How many times did they see that highlight?
I mean, our Will Bowling over here has a T-shirt of it on. As Coach Vrabel said, the best 5-yard run in history, right?
Ever. Ever. That actually wasn't a play because there was offsetting penalties. So
right.
Never existed, right,
Yes.
Josh Norman? It's easy for fans to sit here and say, okay, this is an L, this is a W, this is an L, this is a W. You've been in that league, man. It's such a grind week to week. It really doesn't matter who you're playing, right? And we, especially as people that cover the Titans and follow the Titans, we understand that it is a week-to-week deal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, y'all know how close the league is. You remember when Detroit Lions went 0-16?
Right.
Like, every week, people will sit there and thought, it's going to be this week. Because you just don't assume because it's that close. Everybody's good. Like, you just don't assume there's a bad team. So there's no guaranteed wins. You still have to execute. It's hard to get up all 16, now 17 games, be at that high level, be healthy enough to be at a high level, to have that same quote-unquote motivation every week at a high level. It's just a different type of feeling. Like in high school, if I got 5, 6 D1 football players that's just better than everybody else, I'm probably going to win.
Right.
You can make mistakes and probably still win, but in that football league, you have all those All-Americans on your team. So you make 5, 6 mistakes in a game, that can cost you. I don't care if you're the number one team in that football league. And we've seen it. We saw that with New England Patriots go 19-0 up until that last game. And we all thought, oh, that's a Super Bowl. They're going to see the first undefeated team since the 72 Dolphins. Mm-hmm. And what happened? The other team came, made plenty of plays, limited their mistakes, and they came out and got that good old that energy, they never relinquished it, and it was hard for the Patriots to go back and win that or get back in that game.
How can the Titans get it done? We'll talk about that when we come back. Also, will the Bills experience some sort of hangover from that big win at Kansas City? We'll get Kevin Dyson's take on that. All that coming up next. Stay tuned. The Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff. Lee Company can take care of your home's heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical needs starting at $99 a year. Call 615-567-1000. Also, if you're coming to the game, make sure you get the app updated, because that's how you're going to get in with your tickets on the updated app. If you don't update the app, your ticket link will not work. So make sure you get that done. We'll be right back. Broadcast live at Nissan Stadium. Kevin Dyson with us, the Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff. More next.
I wouldn't say any defined weakness where you say, oh boy, you can really get after that and you're in great shape. No, I don't think there's that. But I will say this, what they did against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, I don't believe they'll do this week against the Titans. They played 95, maybe 98% of their snaps against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs with split safety, 2 shell coverage, both zone concepts and 2-man coverage. By the way, which just as an aside, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense has struggled versus 2-man coverage going back to the Super Bowl last year. There's reasons for that, which again, the Chiefs played with Washington. We were not necessarily going to talk about that game, but anyway, let me get back to Buffalo. So the point being is that Buffalo against Tennessee, with the Derrick Henry factor and the run game and the use of base personnel packages, 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends, a fullback, they are not going to play this game with the majority of their snaps with the 2-shell safety look. They're going to get a safety who's down in the box. So this is going to be a different defense for Buffalo than the one we saw against Kansas City, and it was obviously a great performance.
With the best home service team in town, from air conditioning to home improvements, Lee Company is the team to call. 615-567-1000. We can actually take your phone calls as well. Brent Doherty, Don Davenport, Ron Slay. With the Lee Company countdown to kickoff. Kevin Dyson, Dr. Miracle Man Dyson. Looking good today, too, man.
Sitting here watching these forever 40s.
They show.
They are running the 40, like right in front of us. Some lady ran one.
Ever.
It was like 7.1. I'm like, how in the world was it? Looked like 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Dice, what would you run if you went and hit a 40 right now?
Right now?
Yeah.
With stretching?
No, stretching.
Oh, okay, stretching and get loose?
I mean, you'd rip every muscle if you didn't stretch, right? What would you run?
Right now, stretch, loose, everything, probably 4.6, 4.5, 4.6.
That's
rolling.
just ridiculous.
Rolling.
That's just
Rolling
ridiculous.
coming down through
That's
there.
because I got long legs.
Yeah, you gotta use that stride, baby.
Because you're still in shape.
I would run about a 20. Slay, what about you?
I don't know, man. What we putting at the end? That's the question. There's got to be something at the finish line.
Wings.
Yeah, there's got to be some. The time ain't gonna do it
Strike
for me.
out wings.
Oh,
You'd be good to go.
About a 3.
There you go.
Flat.
By the way, Blaine and Mickey at Strikeout Wings today sounded good.
Yeah. I told him it was serious, man. I told Blaine, don't go in there playing. He went in there and tried that hot wing, man.
It got him?
It got him. That man was sweating and everything, asking for cups of ice and all type of stuff. I told the hitman, man, don't go in there playing like that, dude.
He said he didn't eat all day before he went in there.
That was smart. I'm going in there after this. And
That's like stretching for a 40, right?
I'm going in there have a good time.
Oh, I love it. All right, Buffalo Bills, Kevin Dyson.
Yes.
Number 1 in the NFL in scoring offense. Number 1 in scoring defense. They're number 3 in the NFL against the run, and Derrick Henry really hasn't had a good game against them.
Ever.
How do the Titans get it done tonight?
Run the football.
Yeah.
If he can get
Beat them, right?
Yeah, beat them. Beat them at their strength. If the Titans if he can get 100, 125 yards tonight, I believe they have an excellent chance of winning this football game. I don't think you get away with him only having 57 yards again like they did last year.
Yeah.
He scored 42 points. I don't think you had that luxury. I don't see they are a different team than they were good last year. And at this point, they were really good last year too. I just think they're a different team mentally. I think losing last year to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game, and I've been there when you lose a big game and you're like, man, we were pretty good.
Yeah.
And that whole offseason getting back, like that year we went to Super Bowl and we lost, we came back. We were a better team that second year. We just made a couple mistakes against the Baltimore Ravens in the playoff and the divisional round, and then that cost us. But they are a confident team that feels like they are the team to beat.
See, that's it, man. Like, you can just feel the swagger
Yeah.
that the Buffalo Bills bring.
Absolutely.
The 2 shutouts in the last 4 games. I mean,
Beating
that's
everybody
crazy.
by, what, 3 scores? 18
In
points?
the last 4, they've won all 4 in the last 4, and they've won by an average of 29 points per game. I mean,
Okay.
this is the NFL.
And the Chiefs are
Reel 'em
in
in,
that, though.
Babs.
The Chiefs are in that
Reel 'em
mix,
in,
too.
Babs.
Okay, but
Here we go.
Uh-oh. Optimism
Titans-
over here.
Right.
Titans fans, hold on. Have the Bills been truly tested, Dice? Now, Bills fans are like, give me a break. Who is this girl
Right.
sitting up there
The
talking
Chiefs.
this junk?
She just
Okay,
said, "Hey."
but if you combine the winning records of all the teams they've beat coming into Sunday, those teams have only won 8 games combined.
And
Now,
all-
I get it. It's not their fault. They play who's in front of them, right?
And they're pounding the crap
Jags,
out of them.
Jets, I get it. They are.
Right.
But I'm just saying there is a little more to it than that. I will say this. You brought up whoever makes the least amount of mistakes, right? Especially in a game like this. There's Bills fans everywhere. Everywhere.
Bills
There's
Mafia in there.
Kentucky football's SID is sitting here
For
too,
sure.
by the way.
Yeah.
Bud Dupree, obviously, her guy.
And
Avery Williams. That's
Yeah,
right.
about Avery,
Avery's
that's right.
back. Avery's back with the Titans. There you go. Susan Lax, by the way, is her name. We call her Slacks. Yes. But you talked about not making mistakes, and that is something that Josh Allen has really done. Only 2 interceptions.
Yep.
Yeah.
How do you force them into mistakes? What can you do to make them uncomfortable offensively? Because they have not looked uncomfortable at all.
Let me go back to the winning. The Chiefs, to me, was a big win because they went to Arrowhead.
Yeah.
And they dominated them.
Not just
It
one.
was convincingly. Yeah.
Dominate.
Yep.
That's different. I give you the other ones.
Yeah.
But that one was a statement. That was letting everybody know in the AFC, like, it's coming through here.
Yeah, like I'm going to come
into
into your house. I'm going to get your cigar out. I'm going to get your bourbon out. I'm going to go in your closet, get your robe out, and I'm going to sit down there and watch your television.
Yeah, and that's what they did.
That's what they did.
That's disrespectful.
And so that, to me, put them in that conversation, obviously, is the elite, one of the elite, if not the elite team in the NFL. And to your point, Babs, I think if you can make any team, if you can make them one-dimensional, it makes it easier to beat them. If you're making a team throw the ball 40, 50 times a game, you give yourself a higher chance because now they're limited. Now you can pin your ears back and get after the quarterback. But I think the tough part with the Bills right now, especially with Allen, is his maturation and how good he has gotten. He's good out of the pocket. He's good in the pocket.
Yep.
He's good in small spaces. He's got Diggs. Diggs is playing at a high level. His confidence level is out through the roof. We didn't even talk about he was one of the best receivers in the game because he's a little guy, but he is in that top 2 or 3 right now. So it's hard to find a hole in their game right now. I mean, if we talk about their running backs, and I got my man Moss from Utah who just went out with injury, but you got a guys that you don't have Derrick Henry back there. This is a guy you're gonna get a ball to 30 times a game, but they got guys that are efficient, that catch the ball in the backfield, get tough yardage, and then you add this to receiving core, Beasley, Diggs, and we keep on going. This is a tough matchup for everybody, not just Titans, for everybody.
Dawson Knox, local kid.
Local,
like,
5
tight
touchdown
end.
receptions.
Was a quarterback at BA for a little bit. Was a wide receiver his junior year. I remember covering him in the state championship game for BA.
But what you hit on, we didn't even mention the communication and the chemistry that he has with a guy like Josh Allen. What he's developed with these receivers, like last year, did shine, but this year, even with his output not being as productive as it was last year to this point, man, the chemistry that they got is crazy.
And they're doing it with a bunch of people. It's not just Diggs and Allen. It's a team, and I think that's
tighten up.
That's the beauty of the Bills this year. It's not just Allen's team. We know it's his team.
Yeah.
But it's like everybody's invested in it, and you feel it. It's just sometimes when you just play somebody, you just feel that.
Yeah.
You know, like when you played Tom Brady's team, it was just like that's a team. We got to come to work.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of how you feel about this Bills team.
And so let me ask you this real quick, Dice. The biggest way to offset all of that, the potential they got, the talent they got, the chemistry they got, when you playing an opponent, especially at home, my first thing is that I'm gonna hit them in the mouth.
Got to.
I mean, you can't come out there. You can't wait to see what they're gonna do. You can't wait to bleed countering what they got. You got to hit them in the mouth, man. Who do you see doing that? The O-line. I'm a trenches guy. You know what I'm saying? I think up front it's gonna space everything out, and we're gonna be able to get busy out there on the borders, and it's on. You get you an area, but right there in the trenches, Big Jeff, Southfold and them on the opposite side. Ben, like it's got to be done up front. Like, what we gonna do?
You're riding with the Titans' offensive line, Slay?
I'm trying. Listen. I didn't get to experience this part as a player.
I'm just saying.
As an athlete, you ride into the arena and you don't really you just get to see everybody around.
Mr.
But when
Fade
you're out
Route.
here in it,
Mr. Fade Route.
I'm trying to get myself into it now. You know what I mean? That's why I'm asking Dice. Like, talk me down off the ledge, Dice, before I jump. You know what I mean? 'Cause I'm all in, especially with the 6.5 they're giving the Titans. But I think it's a trenches thing, and I think we got the guys for it.
Well, you know, you want to impose your will, and I think obviously you want to be the team to be able to do that. And like you said, starting it early.
Yeah.
Whoever's been able to establish that early. Now, we know the NFL's ebbs and flows. It's about momentum. And sometimes you can have, like we've seen people give up 3-score leads in the fourth quarter because it's a passing league. And the physicality, you back off a little bit, you get penalties. So it becomes, like you said, at the beginning.
Right.
Who's establishing their will? Hey, what's up, Brenda? She's coming from Utah. Like,
Hey, Utah in the building.
She just asked what you're doing.
Just sitting over
It's
there
actually live on air.
talking to a lot of people. That's
Why are you sitting up on a stage, Kat?
That's it, man. You said it. You got to hit them in the mouth, and you got to start from the beginning of it, from the coin toss.
Yeah, from the top.
We can take your phone call, 615-737-1045. Darrington is on the line. Darrington, what's up, man? How are you? Yo, Darrington.
No, I'm still upset and red. This cost me 4. Yeah, can you hear me?
Let me do this. Let me put you on hold. We're having some technical issues from back to the station to us and all those things. We'll try to get that worked out. Josh Allen, 62.3%, 312 yards per game, 12 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
That's all?
Here's the thing, though, Dyson. This is what is crazy about this dude who's 6'5", 237 pounds. They have called run plays for him. Like, they call run plays for him. I'd be nervous to do that if I was a head coach.
That's a grown man. What do you do? What do you do? And he's moving.
Yeah.
Like, he's not just some slow, just lumbering big guy. He can move. He's athletic.
Yeah.
I mean, I shouldn't be shocked. I mean, just everybody just seems to get bigger and faster. Back in my day, when 20 years ago, that's an offensive tackle.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's back there toting a rock. What do you do?
Hey, Roger Saffold caught a pass the other day and turned it up the field. How great was that?
Look how athletic the catch was. He looked like he was supposed to do that.
With an injured shoulder.
With an injured
By
shoulder.
the way.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see how athletic those big dudes are like that.
Really, you think about a lot of them play basketball and other sports, and then a lot of them just grow into that position. That's why you see NFL people going getting tight ends, beefing them up a little bit because of the footwork and things of that nature. And they'll go get a bigger receiver and make him a tight end. They can put on 10, 15 pounds, let him play at 245, 250, and still can move.
Let's talk about that, because just difference of the receivers, because we've talked a lot about the Chiefs game and what the Bills were able to do against them, but they see different receivers with the Titans. So we'll do that on the other side, because I want your opinion on that.
That's it.
Mister, I can still run a 640.
6.
Okay.
The league
Y'all forget,
company.
that's like 3/10 ways lower than I used to.
3/10. The league company countdown to kickoff resumes when we come back. Calling all Titans fans, if you're attending the Bills-Titans game tonight, make sure to have the latest version of the Titans app downloaded on your phone. A new app update has been released for the Titans app, and it is required for entry for tonight's game. Update your app today through the Apple Store and Google Play Store.
The approach that's old as time, or in football time anyway, let's run the ball, let's eat up clock, let's control the pace and tempo of the game, let's keep Josh Allen and that offense on the sideline, and that's the way we want to play this game. Or is the approach, hey, they know Derrick Henry is our main offensive weapon, everybody knows he's going to get the ball, so in this given game, let's not ignore Henry, that's not my point, but let's maybe on first down, out of run personnel, run formations, take some shots.
kickoff. The weather brought to you by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, who is helping your family get ready for fall with their one system tune-up for $55. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, premium service without premium prices. Schedule your fall tune-up today at springhillac.com. The Miracle Man, Dr. Kevin Dyson, with us on the Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff Monday Night Football edition. Brent Doherty, Don Davenport, Ron Slay, and Dr. Kevin Dyson talking about the Buffalo Bills-Titans matchup. Again, 6.5. Bills by 6.5. A.J. Brown reportedly will be available tonight.
Yeah.
That is huge. Amani Hooker on the 53-man roster. That is huge for the defense. So a couple of big things there. Christian Fulton hit the IR. So it looks like Caleb Farley, the rookie, will make his first start against Josh Allen in this high-powered Buffalo Bills offense.
Welcome in.
Ooh. Let's see how Landry becomes even more important.
Yeah.
He got to get after Josh Allen.
Get to him. Don't you leave me out here too long.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
KD, what do you think when you see a guy? You see a guy making his first start, rookie, and you know he ain't really played.
Feed me. Hey, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. No knock to him.
I want to see where your headspace is at.
Right.
I want to see if you have that kind of swag that I got to battle you all game long.
Yeah.
And I think it goes both ways.
Right.
You know, he maybe has something to prove as a young guy. He got a veteran defense.
Right.
You don't want to let them guys down.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you give up a play, it's like, come on now. We need you out here.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I got a young guy. I'm like, feed me. Let me see what he's got.
Yeah, I love it.
Because he knows right now they're coming after him early.
What?
Early.
He knows.
Yeah.
Man, they could come out there with bibs on.
You know, Stephon Diggs right now
just show up.
He just laced up them shoes. Like, ooh, rookie?
Yeah.
Who's been hurt?
Yeah.
Off and on, too? Oh, yeah.
Well, better
Let me lace this up. Let me show him what a Pro Bowl receiver looks like.
Yeah.
Although the plus sometimes of being a rookie in that position is you don't know what you don't know.
You don't know about him.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So you walk in real confident.
Right.
And that's part of the battle. I mean, the mental part of that game is part of the battle. So
Ignorance can be bliss.
Right.
Exactly.
It can be bliss. But, again, what you don't know sometimes is the different speed of a guy. Some of the adjustments of the route recognition. I'm just talking about from a DB's perspective. There's some things that you just don't know yet because you hadn't seen it all yet. Because the NFL is just a different bird. So, but that's the good news, too, because you have to have a certain short memory, especially at defensive backs and corner in particular, in this league, especially because it is a passing league.
Everybody gets beat.
You're going to get beat. You're out there long enough, you're going to get beat.
Yeah.
It's just you just don't want to do something that's to the detriment of your team, as we have seen before in the Titans game, where they give up the big play because miscommunication or something to that effect. If they're going to beat me, make it a battle. Make it something he jumps over the top of me, comes down with it. I can take that because he made a play, but I was in position. But what you can't happen is I'm out here and I'm so in tune that I got Stephon Diggs in front of me that I missed a check and I jumped something when my safety is leaving and I had nobody behind me, and then that creates that play, that big play. More often than not, in the NFL, in football in general, a big play happens because of a mistake. Usually people are in position to make plays, especially in the NFL. They don't miss a whole lot of tackles like that, right? So usually a big play, especially in the passing game, is a communication or a mistake. Where you got zero coverage and the guy falls down and he's sitting by himself, or safety comes down and they're like, where'd he go? And we've seen that happen this year more often than not. So you just don't want to be that guy that creates that mistake, that creates that big play on the national stage, no less.
I asked a question to you prior to the break, talking about there's so much talk about what the Bills defense was able to do, how they were able to handle Kansas City and those receivers. But they're different than an A.J. Brown, a Julio Jones. It's a different type of receiver, right? So can you take, maybe if you're a Titans fan, can you walk into this one and say, okay, you saw what they did. You're giving me a look like, Matt Davenport, I don't think so. You're trying, Don? You're really trying.
Kelsey, we don't have a Travis Kelce.
Well, but nobody does.
I know. And so when you have a guy like that, it opens up everybody else. And I'm not taking away from Ferkster. I'm not taking anything away from them. But Kelce is the elite tight end in the National Football League. He's a big wide receiver out there. So he's a matchup problem for everybody. And when you have that, you got to rotate a little bit different than if you're just worried about Julio Jones on the outside or A.J. Brown on the outside. When you got a guy like on the inside that's a game changer, that's he's a 1,500-yard receiver playing tight end, your game plan changed a little bit because do you Do you substitute linebackers for him? Do you keep a safety on him? That means you bring somebody in the run game, which opens up the receivers on the outside with some individual coverages, some single coverages with a single safety high. Do you say too high and leave Kelsey in the zone with Patrick Mahomes? That's just a different animal. And I'm not taking anything away from Firkser, but until they are consistent with that playmaking ability, my coverage rotation is a little bit different just because he's an X factor.
The Lee Company countdown to kickoff. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, this guy made a play in a pretty big playoff game.
Did he?
Building against this franchise. He's already been hearing it from the Bills fans as they walk by.
They know.
That it was a forward pass.
They know.
We'll tell that story to continue the Lee Company countdown to kickoff next. This is the Lee Company countdown to kickoff. We'll be right back.